Hello, everyone. Good evening from Myanmar. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all. Hope you all are keeping well. Then I have given the topic Dhamma therapy and power or stress reductions. So some of you have already know that the situation in my country, Myanmar, is a little complicated. It's not stable in every sector. So you know that the political situation is not stable. Other things following things like others things just following this, then it become even a disaster. Much tragedies throughout the country we've been witnessing now. So pray for this. However, so the topic is obviously is stress reductions, how to reduce, how to remove, how to overcome our stress. But I have to admit that me myself is a little feel stressful because power cut anytime happen. Internet connections is unpredictable. So we are going to give a worship, triple gems, the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, saying Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. So, good evening again. The topic, Dhamma therapy. So obviously the Dhamma is the Buddhist, the Pali term, the Sanskrit Dharma. The Dhamma, the term Dhamma, it covers the entire teaching of the Buddha, the 48,000 aggregate of the Dhamma, 5 Nikaya, 3 Bhaskars, Tipitaka, and other ways like Shila Samadhi, Anapenya, morality, concentration, and wisdom. So it can be distinguished or classified in this way, the Buddhist teachings, many ways. But just one word, if we describe by just one single word, is Dhamma. So all the Buddhist teaching can be called the Dhamma. So how we use is Dhamma therapy. So therapy is kind of a treatment. So why we need to treat them, why we need to cure? Because obviously we have diseases and we are sick, we have sickness. So it needs to be cured. So thing is like this. In other words, stress reduction. Stress is obviously is a negative term. Stress. So we ordinary people, everyone belongs to these mental instabilities or anxiety, some other, just mentally illness, all can be called the stress. It kind of, mentally we suffer. many things come to us. It causes stress. So modern scholars, especially today, I have to quote some of the war organization, the WHO, say that stress can be identified as a state of worry or mental tensions caused by difficult situation. Stress is a natural human response that prompts us to address challenges and threats in our life. Every experience stresses to some degree. The way we respond to stress, however, makes a big difference to our overall well-being. So this was the WHO defines the stress. So mental state, kind of worry, kind of feeling psychological unsafe. So those things are stress. So it's very obvious, my country. So it belongs to everyone, but sometimes the situation come to us abnormal, the political situation, economic situation, your social condition, cause appear stressful. But generally, we have to generalize now. This is not specifically if we say that about my country in Myanmar. People, I just called recently to my devotees, like she said that every time, because of power cut, electricity come unpredictable. It comes, but it goes back anytime. So you cannot predict what time the electricity come, what time it go back. So you don't know that. So you feel stressful. You have to prepare. You have to cook a rice. You have to wash your clothes, and many things that you have to do. But the time come, it is suddenly cut. Suddenly comes. Then you feel. You can imagine that. I mean, you may not know that. Some of you are living in the developing country. You are not able to, imagine what it means to be, the power cut or others, such century is a unusual thing, it's very rare to happen. But here is just it's happening. It's clear many things that sometimes we even make a joke, like we people in the country happier than other people are. Why? Because when electricity comes, so we're happy. And it's stressful again. These kind of just like it's a mentally one of the like a bipolar, the shipping to the two kinds of pleasant and unpleasant emotion, a kind of chronic disease, bipolar. So anyway, let's go back to this topic, the stress. So what is this mean the stress in the Buddhist teaching? So is it the same what the WHO defines? World Health Organization defines the stress as a mental state of worry. Buddhism is not different. But specifically, the Buddha emphasized that in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta. Some of you have already known that the practice in this meditation, the Satipatthana, whole foundations of mindfulness, you practice this and you will get these 7 specific benefits. Specific benefits. The first thing is Sattana Visuddhiya, the purification of your mind. This kind of practice is able to purify your mind. Sattana is the purification of all the beings. For this purification of the being, we have to practice these 4 foundations of mindfulness. Number 1. Number 2, is dukkha dominasana atangamaya. Dukkha dominasana soka pridewana samatekamaya. Soka and parideva. For the overcoming of sorrow and limitation. Overcoming of sorrow and limitation. So here sorrow and limitation. If he is sorrow or suffer mentally, feeling sorrowful, and limitations is a little more stronger than you lost, We've been witnessing this kind of situation throughout the COVID-19 period, 2020, 21, 22, within these 3 years, we've been suffering. So it's every country, it happens very unnormal, diseases, unnormal kind of situations introduced to human community. So people suffer. Some people is very physically very beautiful, some are very intelligent, some are very rich, some are very healthy. However, who suffer this because I'm not a doctor, but this is very obvious that this is very new to human mechanism. Never before that we human beings feel this. It's very new to our physical body, or our body. So this is very obvious, the doctor and a medical expertise, so they also feel, that is the suddenly, how to say, the surprise, and they don't know how to cure. They have no cure. So it happened. Even this developing country like United States suffer a lot. Many people die. So we love loved ones. People are suffering. So the kind of limitation. We can imagine the young lady told me this in this period, in this very period, how she suffered. She lost, they have no children. These couples have no children. They're old. So they both live in a house. One day, her husband died. But no other relatives come to help them. So and that's very serious in Myanmar because of this COVID-19. You can imagine that. So in this house, the dead body, her husband, the dead body, and she leave 2-3 knives with the dead body for a young lady. No other parents can come. No other relatives can come. She almost, going to be mad. Become like cannot control how to do that body. No medicals, others, the guru come to take this body. Though at the time it's happening like in the movie, So you may have seen that some kind of movies, the era, no governments, no others rule is happening around the world, just like that. So she explained to me with a tear, how difficult is it? It is difficult to imagine how people suffer. Those things all can be included into the sorrow or limitation. So Satipatthana, the Buddha mentioned here, the sorrow and limitation, Sokha Paridewana, Samate Kamaya, for overcoming of sorrow and limitation. Number 3 is dukkha domanasana atangamaya, for the distractions of the suffering and grief. Dukkha, suffering. So according to commentary, here suffering can be understood as the body physical suffering, and grief is a kind of dominance, unpleasantness, or grief. So number 4 is number 2, 3, 4, 5, because 2 things are Soka and Prideva, and the Dukkha and Domanasa. 5. Number 6 is Nyayasa Adhikamaya, for the reaching to the right path. Practicing this mindfulness meditation, it elevates you to up level. It means you become mentally, physically, or bodily become so mature and so, how to say, tame. You be taming by this practice, and you become you're able to control that. You have capacity to control something's going to be wrong, that you are mindful, and you will not to do so. The bad misbehaviors, bodily, physically, or mentally, it elevates you to right path. To just like what does it mean? We traditionally try to understand how is a very new event happening, like for example NASA, the space discovery, to make the space, to go to the space, some of the what to do, we need to have first the rocket, right? A kind of weapon to lift you up to the space. You have vehicle, but your vehicle, your vehicle cannot go through, but how to say, to go to this space. So you need to have the rocket, 2, 3 rocket to push you up, and you go up. So after you go to the space, there's no gravity. You will not fall down. At that time, you don't need a rocket, right? So you're just going in this space, just like that. This mindfulness meditation lift you up this level. At that time, you become like a mature, you become like a polite, and you are is kind of bhavanamaya, the experiential knowledge. You automatically, and you, according to your knowledge, you know that it will not do, it should not be done, it should be done. It's called Nyaya Sadhikamaya. I think it's the example, good example for me. Nibbana Sachikriyaya, that's obvious thing to attainment of Nibbana. It is free from the sensory existence, overcoming of all dukkha, all sufferings, and reaching to the ultimate reality for Nibbana. So in this 7 benefits, you will see this number 3, 4, and the number 2, 3, 4, 5. The sorrow and limitation, dukkha and dominance, those can be considered as a stress, can be considered as a stress and a feeling. So mindfulness meditation, by practicing this, you can overcome all those mental instabilities and mental, feel illness. So here, what I mean, the stress mean kind of sorrow, limitation, and a suffering, and a grief. Those kinds of mental state can be considered as stress. So worry, anxiety, because of causing some of things, as I explained earlier, that how people are suffering in a period in COVID-19 last to, within 3 years, how people are suffering many tragedies, kind of unimaginable things happen to human community. Those things can be considered as a stress. Okay. Then but how to straighten a reduction, right? So another things that we need to remember, according to the Buddhist teachings, we couldn't overcome, we cannot reduce the stress. But that is what the difference things, the modern understanding or the even a WWS show define this how to reduce stress. So this thing that we need to do. I've been reading this, the viewer show how to manage stress. It mentions the six kinds of the categories that we need to follow or we need to practice. Learn stress management. We need to learn this how to stress management and keep in daily routine and get a plenty of the sleep, connect with the other social relationship, some other, live with the friend and live with them, go with them, something like that. And eat healthy food or in a healthy way. We diet or daily diet have to be in a healthy way. And exercise regularly, making it regular exercise and limit time following news. It means using social medias, other things, televisions, watching other, it can cause stress. It's right. But what is different things is according to Buddhist teaching, this thing is a kind of substance. It's not causes disease. It can reduce only substance. For example, what I mean by this, okay, you have kind of sneezing, headache, you may have some kind of drug. So it can temporarily cure your headache, but it becomes like a chronic disease. You use the same drug every day, then it can temporarily, cure your headache disease. You feel it better and it comes again. So, and the doctor will see that because it cure the surface level only. Because in the deeper level, there are some root cause. The root cause can be something from located in your heart, your lungs, or your liver. I don't know. You name it. Maybe others, the location can cause your headache disease. Just like that. But what I want to say is that according to Buddhist teaching, the stress, we couldn't reduce stress, but cause of stress. Stress is disease, but we couldn't reduce stress, the disease it means, but we have to cure cause of disease. Cause of disease. So now that is the themes of this talk. So that is the clear cut that how we need to go, how we need to see this stress. Maybe stressful situation in life, in everyday life, maybe your school for young age, your job, your boss, maybe your family. So those things. But important thing is that is a real stress. It is caused by others, environment, other people around us. But sometimes we forget to see that stress caused by ourselves, that we create our own stress. It can be called self-creative stress. Sometimes we use the term the self-creative suffering. What kind of suffering stress means? So self-creative stress. So in the Satipatthana that I mentioned earlier, the Buddha says, that dukkha domaneshana atangamaya. For the overcoming, for the distractions of the suffering, to destroy our suffering, is a physical suffering. It's very important to know that we have suffering. Buddhist text mentions three kinds of suffering. Dukkha. You have a aging, decaying. Since you were born with the suffering, you're born with the, the gradually you're getting old. It becomes a jara, vyati, a sickness, or marana, dying, or the death. Is called suffering, dukkha. Other things, uprinama dukkha, because of changing, because of you couldn't predict things that it's changing, because changing. Ya aniccantam dukkha, the Pali terms, Pali sentence called ya aniccan. Something is which can be considered as anicca, impermanent, is suffering. It's obvious. You want to be happy all the time. And you want to be beautiful all the time. That you don't want to admit that you are getting old sometimes. You are, all the time want to be happy. You want appreciation from others that, hey, you are happy, or you are beautiful, or you are handsome, you are smart, awesome. So those kind of positive words throw into you, and you accept this eagerly. You never don't want to accept this bad word. Hey, you become getting old. Your gray changing to grave. Your hair is changing to the grave. You don't want this. Like the example, once the English grammar teachers ladies came to the classroom and writing on the board, I am beautiful. And she asked the students, what tense is it? Present, future, or whatever. And the students say it's a past tense, madam. The students say that is a past tense. But she writing accurately is it, I am beautiful. It means present tense. But the students give the very direct answers that is not. You were beautiful, but you are not beautiful now. Maybe once in the past. So sometimes we want to be beautiful all the time. We want to be happy because the changing we put in nama. So you appear suffer. Especially it happens to beautiful and physically smart or physically or beauty, have the beauty. The people who have physical beauty. So after 40, 50 years later, their beauty getting gradually become lower and lower. Then I feel stressed. So because of this changing, uprinama dukkha. Another one is sankhara dukkha. That's a universal dukkha. Whatever you are beautiful, you are smart, you are whatever you living in this way, you rich, whatever you are, what kind of position you have, how beautiful you are, doesn't matter. All are under this title of suffering. It means according to this number 3, we have suffering since we were born. In any realms, not only human beings, others, even you were born a higher state of the Brahma world, heavenly being, because of your jhana. This can be considered as a state of the suffering. So everyone under this. So when we talk about the stress, we also need to remember, we also need to notice that the opposites of on the opposite side is happiness. Happiness. As I mentioned earlier, everyone wants to be happy. I want to be happy. You want to be happy. Everyone. Why? Because we are finding this even suicide bomber, you know, suicide bomber want to be happy. Why make it a suicide? The committed suicide this because he want to be happy. Maybe he's a teacher, he's the leader or religious leader, motivate him to make it this committing this suicide, bombing, killing many people around. So he got such kind of motivation that you will be reborn in a higher realm with a many beautiful ladies or many others, the luxury. You will have luxury life after this life if you make it. But this kind of wrong motivation. So we can say this wrong here. It's not, the roughly or randomly judgmental word. We can say that rightly wrongdoing. Everyone accept this committed suicide bombing. So even this, suicide, someone who make this suicide bombing wants to be happy. So we doing, sometimes we doing meditation, observing the sila. Why? We want to be happy. Very simple. We simply want to be happy. So when the Buddha's mentioned about the satipatthana, why is it we want to be happy? To get a happy life, we need to remove some of the disturbances or hindrances because of nivarana. Those things are also causes of the stress. Kamechanda nivarana. The attachment, hindrance of the attachment. Vyabhada nivarana. Illness, mental illness, ill will, mentally ill will. So the Vyabhada. Tinameda nivarana, sloth, and the temple. A kind of laziness, sloth. Odeja kokoja nivarana, restlessness and worry. Those things are, the cause of the stress, or even it also can be called itself is stress. And a vichikecha, complexity, also doubtfulness. Those 5 things are called nivarana, hindrances. Those hindrances in our lives, every day happening in our mental state, gone through. So we feel stressed. Other things, other things happen to us because of family, because of your classroom, because of your job, because of other things. But these are pause. So other cause, as I mentioned, with the example of COVID-19, for Vyasana Dhamma, distractions, those sort of things are also can be a cause of stress. Vyasana Dhamma, Nyadi Vyasana, distractions of relatives. You lost loved one, you lost relatives, you lost mother, father, and you loved one, your children. It's a Nyati Vyasana. Those things are also at the cause of the feeling the stress. And Roga Vyasana. Roga means disease, illness. Because of this illness, you feel stress. So obviously, because of Roga, you feel chronic disease, you are not happy. Number 3 is Bhoga Vyasana. You lost your property because the Pali term Bahupachatika Sadharana Bhavena. Your property belongs to, your property is dealing with the five kinds of enemies. Enemy, Pachatika. Five kinds of enemy. Is it the fire? Is it kind of enemy? And a water, flood, also enemy. And a king, the government, or the governance of the country also can be a enemies of your property because that they can destroy your property. They can take all of your property. Those things, I mean, those leaders, the governance also, the enemies. Another thing is the robber, also enemies. Another one is your own children. Bad one. They don't listen to you. They're doing bad things. So those things, those people, I mean, your own children can turn into your enemies. So your property belongs to them. I mean, sometimes your property is dealing with them. This way, the Bhoga Vyasana, you lost it. Kind of suffering. You feel stressful by this. Another one is Sila Vyasana. It's a very important point. Sila Vyasana. Distractions of the morality. The for 3 things that we have already discussed. You lost it then because of these distractions of the Nyati, relative distractions of the Roga, distractions of the Bhoga. You okay. But if you lost the 4th one, morality, is more stressful. More stressful. When we say the happiness, which is opposite to distress, one thing is there are 4 kinds of happiness. The Buddha's text mentioned Anguttara Nikaya, Chattoka Nipata. 4 kinds of the 4 kinds of the happiness, the Ati Sukha. Ati Sukha, the happiness of having. You have something and you're happy because of this, you're having something. And a Bhoga Sukha, consuming, happiness of consuming. You're consuming what do you have. That kind of happiness comes to you. That's what Anana Sukha. You have no debt. You have no something that you don't need to repay someone. I mean, you have no debt. Anana Sukha, you're happy. If you borrow something from money or other things from that you cannot repay, so you feel unsafe, not secure. Oh, this owner will come to me, ask me, and will be harmful to me. You have to be worried about this. So you have no any doubt to me, you're happy. Number 4 is Anavijja Sukha. Navijja means you have not done anything wrong. So you have no misbehavior. You're living with the strong morality. It means you're happy because you have no wrongdoing, verbally, physically, because in Sila level, then you're happy. You may have seen sometime a monk, like an ambo, taking some of the, some requested things, no others. They have no like car, they have no decent house, they have no much money. They only have 3 kinds of robes, ambos, and they goes around, take it for one day, Pindapada, answer out, have a one day, claim this bowl, and go. But Tabaro, just like at the boat, when they're flying, only they have 2 arms. Monks is compared to the birds flying on the sky. So when they are flying, they have nothing to carry. Only they have 2 arms, 2 arms. Monks also like this, Patabaro, the Babajito. Patabaro, only the bara mean kind of heavy, or you have to carry only things, very fundamental things, not much things. Though living in this way in the forest, you will see they are, when they will look at carefully their face, they are happy. Their happiness is the Anavita Sukha and the Dhamma Sukha. They are not happy because they have a car, they have a house, they have a much money, they have many other, the modern things. They have no. So why they're happy? Because Anavita Sukha, they are, samvara, taming their mind, their behavior, body behavior, physical behavior, so they're happy. So the happiness is called Anavija Sukha, happiness of the saintless, saintless. So this is why they're happy. So, yes, stress, how to reduce that? Let's go back to the last part of this talk. To reduce the stress that the viewer should also mention that you have to practice, that is good. Learn the stress management. That you're learning now. We're learning now stress management the Buddhist way. That is correct. And keep a daily routine. Yeah. You have to finish your work. Ajewa kamang katapa. You have to do it today. It should not be shipping to the other day. Is a kind of bodhipachana, with the bodhisattva carrier, the bodhisattva habit. Just do it. If you couldn't complete today, what should be done today? So you feel stressed, right? So keeping daily routine, I understand that way. And get plenty of the sleep. So sleeping. But yeah, you have to have enough sleep, deep sleep. But I don't know. I'm not sure that if the sleeping, plenty of the sleeping many times, it'll help you get out of the stress. Anyway, the viewer should mention about this though. Consistent, go back in time and have deep sleep. Deep sleep is good. But plenty of the sleeping, I don't think so. It can help you to leap out, get out of this. The connect with the others mean go with the other, talk with the other, eat healthy food, healthy way, exercise regularly, limit the following news. That is the last one is very important that the viewer should construct and give in stress. The limit the times of following news. Sometimes we have no limit. We spend plenty of times using the social medias and televisions. So because this sometimes you may think that is the way to reduce our stress. No, that is you cannot run away from it. That is not the way to reduce our stress. That is the way of welcoming sometimes our stress. Many news and social media. The last 100 years ago, the last century, okay, not 100 years ago, last century, news mean IT, information technology, two things are important for everyone. But the technology information era is already finished. Because the information is everywhere. You become your own media because you have Facebook and other Twitter. You tweet it, you post on a Facebook something, you become a journalist or media. Maybe sometime how you diagnose this, how you analyze your news, how it's accurate. You don't know, but you share on it. You deliver this, you spread this news to everyone. Then if it is wrong, so you are responsible for this. So it's social media also. It's very serious, channel that it's come through that we get a stress. So as I already mentioned, the Buddhist teaching that mentions three kinds of way to reduce our stress step by step. The first is morality. Shila is every Buddhist people, know that what does it mean? What it means to us, the morality. Why morality can be the tools or instruments to help us overcome our stress. Because, as I mentioned, anavijja sukha, misbehavior, verbally, physically. Maybe sometimes physically you may be fighting, but it's very rare. What happened to us are the verbal actions. We're talking. We ordinary people, sometimes we talk right or wrong. We know it's not something right, but we talk it. We know it's something not good, but we tell the people. It becomes our habit, that habitual actions. We know it's not true. We speak this, we tell them, we tell somebody, even we know it's not true. So verbal actions of the speaking is very important to restrain muchawada. When we say muchawada, three things are following: backbiting, pichuna waja, slandering speech. Rusa waja is a rough speaking, very rude speaking, rush speaking. Sampapalapa is a meaningless speaking. So those verbal actions are very important to have the happy life or to overcome the stress. You can imagine that why we suffer sometimes because our verbal actions, we know is something wrong, but we give it a talk. That is our problem. Sila, morality. That is the way verbal action, our physical actions, we restrain it, we try to maintain it, we try to practice this. So less misbehavior, less wrongdoing. Gradually, we are just standing on the path, on the right path. We are fulfilling the mega noble eightfold path. 3 sila factors: sama ajiva, sama vaja, sama kamanda. So observing this sila, we become, less stress. As I mentioned, why become stressful? You regret it for what you have done. Even you are a philosopher, you have no religion, you don't believe any religion, you don't worship any God. It's okay. Doesn't matter. Even you are non-religious people, but if you do something wrong, you don't believe it. You don't believe any religious talk, but if you have done something inappropriate, If you kill somebody, if you have done something wrong to humanity, you feel suffer, regardless of the religions, regardless of the other faith or whatever teaching. That is natural, because natural. It's called niyama, law of the deed, karma. Dhamma niyama, a law of the Dhamma. Maybe you have no religion. What kind of religion you are, doesn't matter. If you touch Bible or cobra, so what bites you? The snake will spread to your body, and it may cause you die. Just like that. Bad things. Maybe people, some other religions not consider like killing the animal. Killing the animal is not kind of bad things, kind of creation for us to eat or to consume. For example, doesn't matter you believe in that way, but just kill it. How you feel. So Buddhist teachings say, Atano, Atana Upaman Kato. Sape Dasandi Dandasa, Sape Bayanti Mechuna. Atana Upaman Katoa. Nahaneya Nagadaye. Sape Dasandi Dandasa. Every beings are afraid of dying, being killed. Sape Bayanti Mechuna. All beings are afraid of the death. Atana Upaman Kata. To making an example of yourself or ourselves. Nahaneya Nagataye. How you feel? If somebody come to you and kill, how you feel? You happy? No. You be sorrow. Somebody is just holding the gun and following you to take your life. How you feel? You feel thankful? We feel thankful? No. Everybody has like this. You, for example, you take, okay, you are just holding the stake and try to harm the dog. He ran away because he loved his life, just like you are, just like you do. They love, they are scared. So Atana Upamankato, we shall not kill that. So morality. Panatipata Viramani Sikkhabatan Samadhiyami. It visit 5 precepts Buddhist people observing. Following, not following is your part, but the Buddhists give the guidance to have happy life in the socially. It does not mean that to be a Buddhist, you have to go in the forest, you have to be the monk and holding the ambo and practice very propound the Dhamma. Yeah, that is ultimate, the real ultimate aims of the Buddhism. You have to go, that you have to practice. It does not mean that you have to be a monk or nuns, bhikkhu or bhikkhuni. Lay life at the Buddha times. You may have all this many lay people that become enlightened, being in the lay life. Many. A woman, a man. So to have a happy life or to reduce stress is very first level. The morality comes to be in the prominence, very important fundamental the things in life to practice. So that this is the way people nowadays sometimes even in Buddhist communities say that okay, the teachings of morality is a kind of out of date. So, but this why some people in the even Buddhist community, they like to hear about the charity or the giving from the monk. Monk giving this thing, or if you offer this thing, you will get a big resource. If you establish the temple, you will be reborn in heaven. So this dana is a very pleasant teaching. And everyone likes this. If you offer something, you hear this, then you will be happy. But the morality is not like this. It's very opposite. Then you should not do this, you should not do that. So giving you instructions not to do what you want to do. Because people might want to be happy. People might are happy. The natural or the mind is happy with the, the bad things. It's called Dhammabada, Papa Same Mano. Natural, our mind is used to, dealing with the bad objects, bad thoughts. So this way, we have to avoid it with the persistently or diligently, which is called in the Pali word, Padisotagami. Doing bad things is very easy, but doing good things, just like you are swimming against the tide. We are swimming against the stream. That is the way. That is the topic that I'm going to talk about next week in the Dhamma USA. Swimming against the tide. Difficult. There are some difficulties doing good thing, but bad thing is just you are just following the stream. You don't need to use your effort, but doing good thing, maximum effort and full attention, we need to pay. Why? Because it's natural of our mind. It's natural. It become a habit since long time, not only in this life, previous life, many lives that we've been doing. We've been, practicing in that way. Our minds get a habit with the bad thoughts, bad objects. Generally, we're saying that, not everyone, but generally, natural of our mind. So when we try to do something good, as a morality or doing good things, it's that our mind naturally wants to run away from this object, good object. This is why meditation practice, Shila, Samadhi, we need to do this, knowing our mind is not happy in this object. Like a Padisotagami, swimming against the tide, doing persistently, diligently, just like that, with the great effort. So this is morality. And another thing is the samadhi. So when we talk about samadhi, just go back to the Brahma Vihara, loving kindness, compassion, and joyful, illustrated joyful, and equanimity. It's very important for things. Brahma Vihara, the way we live in a habitually being. These things have no harmful. Why? We can establish our samadhi by doing this practice, Brahma Vihara. That is easy start and it's so much beneficial. This thought, this practice, seeing loving kindness toward other people, compassion and joyful, so important because in our mind, when we see somebody higher than you, lower than you, somebody unfortunate, you see that you may feel some kind of compassion. But when we see somebody higher than you, more educated you are, more rich you are, more healthier you are, you feel something jealous. It's so important to overcome this thought, to overcome this kind of mental state. You have to practice the joyful, illustrated joyful, the Pali terms, mudita. It's very important practice in life to stabilize our mind. This Friday is so important, so important. And on the other hand, by practicing this thing, And you're also establishing your samadhi concentration, which is important to see things as they really are, as they come to be, not what you want to be, but as they really are. The things as they really are. The things not what you want to see, not what you want to be. That is so important, but we have to remember that. See things as they are, but see things what you want to see, the way you want to see. It's quite different. See things as they are. This Pali term called Yatha Bhuta. Yatha Bhuta, excuse me. Yatha Bhuta, as they come to be, as they are. So, Brahma Vihara, loving kindness. So, it can change your concept sometimes. What do I mean by this? Sometimes in this social media era, I mean, you may have some close relationship with other people from other countries, very far away, but sometimes you have some is bad relationship with your neighbors. It's not good. Why? You see every day what they're doing. Sometimes they are more educated. You are more rich. You feel a little jealous. You may have sometimes correlating with that. So practicing loving kindness not like this. It make you feel more confident. It make you feel, I mean, very light, pleasant. For example, in India, so we have know that traditionally the woman, the feminist, the female community having neglected traditionally. It's not only in India, many other part of the world. It happened like this. I don't want to say it's a kind of gender discrimination. I don't want to go with that topic, but what I want to say is the seeing woman is something lower than man is since maybe is the beginning of human community. It have been the recognizing. I can say that recognizing this way, but in the Buddha time, you may have some of you have already know that the Kisha, the Pajapati Gautami, the stepmother of the Buddha, wanted to be a bhikkhuni. So the Buddha allowed it. So in the Buddhist traditions, bhikkhuni dispensations established. So some scholars mention that in Indian history, no any other time that woman, the value and the role of women were highlighted, appreciated in the Buddha time. Never before in the Indian tradition. The scholars said why. Another important thing is the Pali word that I want to highlight here is that the Matugama, the Pali word. People say the woman is a woman. Woman is a woman. A girl, when you see the girl, sometimes the negative thoughts. You may see the girl is the woman, our body, our beauty, something like that. You can imagine that way. But what the Buddha was introducing is that the word Matugama refers to the direct meaning is the woman. Matugama, it covers every woman, young or aging. But what beautiful things of this word is Matugama. The English dictionary defines the woman folk. Woman folk. That is the very direct and a grammatically interpretation. But what I want to translate is that the mother folk, Matu Gama. Matu, direct meaning is a mother or natural or mother. The meaning of the Madhugama is somebody is walking like a mother. How beautiful this, translations, how beautiful this definition. Madhugama, the right meaning is the girl, woman, but when it's making sentence is it Madhuviya Gechititi Madhugama. Somebody is walking like a mother. So what I want to say by this is that the Buddha changed the way we see the woman as a woman, the girl as the girl, but he wants us to see the woman as mother, the woman, the girl as mother. Even young girls, 6 or less 10 years, 11 or 12 years younger, we had to see she is a mother to be. She will be one day a mother. How beautiful. If you see somebody is a mother, you will not through this bad thought to her. That is God. If we can understand that way, is loving kindness. How beautiful. So it is the way of the stress reductions. It means stress reduction. Samadhi. The main purpose of practicing concentration, the Pali term samadhi, is to see things as they are. Samadhi bhikkhave bhavita, samadhi to yatha bhutam pajanati. The Pali sentence. Samadhi bhikkhave bhavita. Amongst the Buddha saying, practice the concentration. Because of this concentration, you will see things as they really are. But we are seeing because of perversion. We have such a kind attachment. We have a habit to see things the way we want to be, the way we want to see, not as they are. Just like a David Hume, psychologists say, somebody says because of the blooming the flowers, they need some kind of conditions like a sunshine, soil, water, and the sea. Fundamentally, these 4 things are needed or necessary to grow a tree. But David Hume say, how can you say that? How can you say that only these 4 things are needed? Are invisible things to grow that tree. Other possibilities around, there are many, but invisible. We cannot see that by our normal eyes. Many other things around. Just like that. So to happen is something around. Many things there. Sometimes we make a judgment. We make a decision, just seeing our things, our own eyes. Sometimes how can we trust? To what extent that we can trust our eyes? Okay, the star is falling in the sky. Star is falling from the sky. We need the star is just now falling in the sky. But we don't know that kind of star that flourishing and establishing for how many centuries, how many millions of years on this universe, but they're just not falling. But this falling happened 100 years ago. But this lightning just come to us, our eyes. We know they're all just now falling today. No, 100 years old, we don't know. How many years it have already fallen? Already fall down. You got what I want to say. So the Buddha is saying, because of this concentration, one pointedness, important to see, to happen yatha buddha jnana, a kind of knowledge that the vision and knowledge to see things as they are, not the way we want to be. The problem, most of the problem, we see things as we want to be. We want to see, not the way it naturally is. It comes to be. That is our problem. That's feel more so stressful because something we see is not correct and we take it granted. Then we feel stressful, right? So that is our problem. So concentrations. Another one is the wisdom. Some problem because of the Vitakama Kilesha, developments of the aggressive level, Vitakama, committing, the developments of the aggressive level, verbally, physically, we committed by practicing the Shila morality, we can overcome this. Another Pariyotana, turbulence, manifestation level, developments, the mental instabilities and mental developments. In the manifestation level, we practice concentration and overcome it. But in the deepest level of our consciousness, something existing, but we cannot see this, Shila. We cannot see even by concentration, but wisdom alone can overcome it. And see this, the root cause, all problem. Root cause of all problem, our problem, mental problem, physical problem. Sometimes physical problem, even the Buddha and Allah enlightened one have, but they don't have, that's important to know that they don't have a mental suffering because not connecting. Sometimes we feel suffer physically, you feel you have illness, and you want other people to come, you see, to me also ask, to come you have, but nobody there, you feel stressed. You feel headache, a small thing happen to you, but nobody take care of you, you feel angry. Oh, nobody care you. If their illness, they're ill, I have to go and take care of them. But for my time, nobody here to take care of me. It kind of mentally you see that it transmits to the mental disease, from physical disease to mental disease. So this is why the Buddha mentions Satipatthana, dukkha, domanassa. Dukkha means physical suffering. Domanassa is mental suffering. These two things are usually very easy to connect, easy to depend on each other. Sometimes mental suffering, you feel something stressful. You hear that something is horribly wrong. Or you lost your loved one, you hear that. Then you become headache. You are so much, exhausted and fatigued because of this new. You're not doing anything physically, but because you're mentally, it causes your body going down. Just like that. So in deeper levels of consciousness, something, the root cause is called anusya kilesha, latent tendency, defilements of the latent tendency, kilesha, causing when you see somebody you like, you feel pleasant. It's called kamaraga nusya. You see somebody on the road, somebody you dislike, you hate, you feel unpleasant. Domanassa vedana. Domanassa padika nusya. Right? These two especially feelings. Because these two feelings, anosya come to next level, manifestation level. Your mind becomes manifest and turbulence, and you're going to commit something physically or verbally. So these two levels, three levels happening all the time. So what we need to stress, finally, what I want to give the highlighting things, practice mindfulness meditation. And mindfulness meditation, 4 kinds of mindfulness meditation, but here, many altogether, like over 20 practice you will have, but breathing meditation is very important. Is really enough to reduce our stress to great extent. Before you practice meditation, that you forget where you are, who you are, where you are, what happened to you. Everything you past, the future, forget it. But your mind have to be focused. You have to focus on present moment, breathing, and breathe out, breathe in and breathe out. It's a natural process of breathing and breathe out, nothing else, nothing else. So why it can reduce, okay, that's kind of practicing or theoretically why it can be an instrument or it can be tools to reduce our stress. Because most stressful things come to mind wandering, mind, past and future, past and future, and we don't notice that. We don't know. We are not mindful on it. The breathing meditation, or sorry, the breathing and breathe out, that kind of process is now to our mechanisms is happening since we were born to the death, never stopping, except from some other special the circumstances that never stopping. Is routine, is it just in this mechanism? It's a very important process, but we never notice the breathe in and breathe out, breathe in and breathe out. It's a very obvious process in our body, so the Buddhists give it. So we focus on breathing and breathe out, breathe in and breathe out, nothing else. So you focus it. You are not thinking about your past. Maybe it does not mean that you don't have to, but sometimes you maybe go, your mind might be going to the past or the future. Doesn't matter. You don't need to be angry with that. You don't need to be feel stressful on that. Just let it go. But mindfully, you can think of your past or your future. The problem is you are not knowing. You have no such mindfulness on that you are thinking the past. You are not mindful on you are thinking the future. That is a problem. It's not a problem you're thinking the past, the future. We're human beings. We need to make a schedule for the tomorrow. Jog, go into the job. What do you want to cook tomorrow? What do you want to eat? What do you want to go into do something tomorrow? We have to think that we have to make this plan, schedule. And the past, what we have done yesterday or last year. But the thing is, the problem comes to us because you are not knowing. We are not thinking mindfully. We are thinking the past. We are thinking the future. That's a problem. If you know that you are just living on the present, even you are thinking the past. Present moment, living the present moment does not mean that you are not allowed to think the past. You are not allowed to make a schedule for the tomorrow. You are allowed. But we have to know that we are doing for the future. We are thinking the past. That's so important. That is so important. So knowing all things, your mind become online. Stopping the auto mind. Stopping the autopilot. It means autopilot means in the psychological terms, right? It going, you just automatically going to doing that thing, bad thing, thinking about bad thing, but turn to this autopilot to positive thought. That's the kind of need to transform, making a transformation. Bad kinds of autopilot to the positive kinds of autopilot. Because of mind wandering, because of this mind wandering, we feel stressful, restless, and worry. In this era, especially, people have many opportunity. It's a fortunate things to have many choice. You have many choice. Previously, you have only bus. You have to go bus, come back bus. But today, many things. If you want to go to the flight and other things, many other transportation, other choice, many things. But this kind of fortunate thing make you feel stressful sometimes. That is the, or making us feel stressful. So it's so important. So important. What do we mean by that? In this era, this technological era, social media, many kinds of news, other around things, also feel stressful. So finally, this 3 level, Chila, avoiding misbehavior, physically killing other creatures, restraining from this, stealing other property, avoiding going to different women, committing their sexual misbehavior, and the restraining from the telling lie. So I have to practice telling the truth. Sila, physically, but for the monks is more than that, the practice of the lay people. Okay, the concentration of the mind to see these things early on. Well, the problem that without seeing things as they are, the way we want to see, the way we want to be, that is our self-centered thought that have to be like this, what I thought, what I said. So make you more stressful, to reduce your self-centered thought or self-centered teaching. The way the loving kindness, mudita, karuna, and upeka, and metta. And in the Western level, to see things as they are. Oh, things are happening like this. Things are happening like or suffering. Some people say that talking about suffering is a kind of negative thought. It's not negative thoughts. It's not pessimistic. It's truly realistic. It's not optimistic. Of course, people think that Buddha is the optimistic. The Buddhism, the teaching of the Buddha is the kind of negative thought, negative ways talking. But what we want to share is that is a realistic. Why we say the realistic? It's very complicated to say that. No, optimistic. It's not pessimistic. Because it's realistic, because happening. We see, witnessing this, what's happening in life. To see the suffering, sometimes life is suffering. Yes. Because one day we're going to happen this, it happens to us, dying, decay. It means that kind of information, that kind of teachings have us to reduce my, I, me, my, something like that. It's my, it's mine, it's me, my property, or I'm going to have this whole life, not changing, something like that. So strongly taking it granted make you feel more stressful. So to reduce those things, so they reduces self-centered thought. Self-centered thought. It's called breathing meditation. Breathing practice low is more than enough to reduce our stress in the day-to-day life. And it can be a higher, it's more profound, it's more fundamental tools to elevate us, to promote, and to get a higher spirituality too. So that is the way to practice the breathing meditation. If you want to have the systematically how to, I think nowadays the Buddhist people, even non-Buddhist people, are familiar with that kind of practice. So let us finally practice the 5 minutes breathing meditation to see that why my wandering, or to reduce for 5 minutes our stress. As I mentioned earlier, just try not to think who you are, where you are, and what you are. Simply that you can, focus on the breathing. Just process of the natural process of breathing, breathe out, the exhalation and inhalation, nothing else, nothing else. Breathing. And you can also notice the nostril that you're touching the air. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, and breathe out. Breathe in. Nothing. If your mind is wandering, please feel that non-judgmental awareness. Non-judgmental me. Non-judgmental awareness means don't judge, don't identify as good or bad. Just focus on breathe in, breathe out. But maybe sometimes your mind just go the past and the future. Maybe you hear the sound because you're closing your eyes that you cannot see, but you can hear your ears opening the sound. Because of this sound, don't feel that pleasant. Just sound, see as a sound, think as a sound. So to deal with this mind wandering, the object, we have to remember three things. 3R method, it means. The first, you practice in breathing, breathe out meditation, but suddenly your mind is wandering, taking an object. Don't judge it's good or bad. Just thinking object. I hear something object. Object, just object. Object, just object. Register this object. Register. Hear, car, sound. Somebody is making a sound. And release. Secondly, release this object. And thirdly, return home practice, breathing meditation, Anapana Pali terms. Come back to the home, come back to our basic meditation, breathing in and breathe out. So how to deal with the mind wandering? The first, when you hear something more mind wandering, I'm mind wandering, just knowing the object, register this I know, I hear, no identify, non-judge, good or bad, short or tall, white or black or whatever. Don't judge. It's called non-judgmental awareness. Because our mind is a habit. We have perceptions. We have a habit to identify good or bad, beautiful or ugly. Even more detailed, we identify. This habit that we need to overcome. It becomes a habitual action. So just register, I hear sound, hear sound. Release this object gently. Come back home, practice. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. So knowing even your mind's wandering, no problem. Because you have awareness on your mind's wandering. Problem arises because you are not mindful on your mind wandering. Mind wandering is not problem. What a problem is, you are not mindful on it. That is the real teaching of the Buddha, the essence of the Buddha. If you are knowing, and finally you try to cure your bad behavior or bad habit, thinking pattern that you're making, you're creating your own suffering or your own stress. Your habit is making. So that is the practice to change your habit, to transform your habit. Breathe in and breathe out. Just nasal process of breathe in and breathe out, exhalation and your inhalation. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else. Okay, time's up. So we're going to wind up this talk. Thank you so much for your listening to this, because I try to give this Dhamma talk directly with you guys, but the problem is technical problem here often occurs that we need to make this recording. Thank you. Thank you so much.